It's finally Breachlight time. It's been one of my favorites in the game. It's been a community favorite too. I'm excited to finally get around to it. It comes back this time around as Strand. You can focus it at failsafe, and being Strand is a good thing. So in the review, there's a lot I want to talk about because Breachlight has some flat out of the box strong synergies to utilize. I want to talk about what it can do. There's combos to pay attention to, certain things with fragments, aspects, and more. Some players are a little hesitant to play with sidearms, especially in PvE. This is one to try, especially right now. It's in the artifact. It can stun champion. And with Breachlight, you have the choice of going all in with the origin trait or just using it when you can. There's certain perks that are better for Titan, Warlock, or Hunter, but all perks do have usage on all classes. Again, these heavy burst sidearms hit like a truck. Heavy burst, heavy damage. And just in general for PvE, they stun enemies fairly easily. We have Cast No Shadows as the origin trait. It states that dealing melee damage increases this weapon's handling and loads a small amount of ammo from reserve. So after melee, you get around 20% of that ammo back in the magazine. The artifact perk, you can overflow it, and you get some handling. So when we look at the perks, in the third, we have Demolitionist, Pugilist, Perpetual Motion, Threat Detector, Compulsive Reloader, and Slice. In the final column, Desperate Measures, Adrenaline Junkie, Swashbuckler, Vorpal Weapon, Hatchling, Collective Action. It has out-of-the-box synergy with Prismatic and Strand. Strand is Threat of Propagation. Powered melee final blows grant your Strand weapons Unravel rounds. The origin trait wants you to melee, and with Prismatic, Threat of Bravery. Same thing, powered melee final blows, you get Unravel rounds for the Strand weapon, and if you choose a Void weapon as a pairing, that's going to get Volatile rounds. And that's something that's going to be brought up quite a bit in the review. It's a little cherry on top. We also have Threaded Blast within the artifact, destroying a Tego with the Strand weapon, get that larger AoE. So I want to talk about the universal role where you can't go wrong. That's Pugilist Swashbuckler. And it's good. Any class, any character. Out of all the combos, it has the best synergy for doing what it wants to do. Again, it's that out-of-the-box feeling. You melee an enemy, and 1, dealing damage with that melee procs the Cast No Shadows handling buff, and 2, the second part of Pugilist, dealing melee damage briefly improves this weapon handling, so it's a double boost to the handling. It's noticeable. ADS faster, stow and ready faster. If it's a melee final blow, you're adding in Swash times 5. 33% more damage. That's tied for the highest damage perk within that column that it can get, which is Adrenaline Junkie times 5. The 33% more damage allows you to mow targets easier. That gets melee energy easier, because with those kills, you get 10% melee energy back, 11% with enhanced. And as I talked about earlier, if you're on Strand or Prismatic, you're gonna have Unravel rounds with that Swash damage and that good handling. And to keep going with synergy, Prismatic specifically, Facet of Dawn. Powered melee hits against targets makes you Radiant. And with powered melee final blows, it makes you and nearby allies Radiant. You also have Blessing. Melee final blows start health regen. So with Prismatic, you have Swash 5, which is 33%. You're giving it Unravel rounds. You're also proccing Radiant, which is an extra 25% applied to that 33%. So it's dealing damage. But again, no matter what character, sub, anything that you're using, it's always going to be there, just that combination of melee. Fast handling, more damage, get some ammo back in. And that's just a strong pairing, the Unravel rounds. But there's a ton of things that gel with this on aspects and fragments. So no issues there. Technically, it's the best role for Titan. Melee builds in general, Titan has a ton of those, but you're adding in the handling, the Unravel rounds, more damage. We then have Demolitionist. Never, ever bad. There's Demo Junkie. Get kills, you increase the damage perk, you throw the grenade. If it gets a final blow, you get the max stack, 33% more damage, and you refill the mag. It's always good to have, all characters. You do Demo Junkie or even Demo Swatch, because again, if you're trying to use the origin trait, that's more damage, better handling, mow through things, get your nade back faster, get kills faster, and so on. Demo pair with the origin trait, you just keep extending that magazine. Another good one's Demo Desperate Measures. It's a great combo. Get a final blow with it, and then melee and grenade finals grant a larger damage bonus, so 10, 20, or 30%. And since you have more damage, it's getting through kills a little bit easier to get the grenade. That way you get grenade final blows to keep the stack up. So Demo shines on Warlock, especially when you get Devour in the mix. And again, with that combination of Unravel rounds, you get a melee final blow, the thing gets more handling. If you have Devour up, you have the extra energy from Demo Devour. A lot of nade spam, refreshing the mag, it's a solid option. And the third main one is Slice. Casting your class ability allows this weapon to sever targets on hit for a brief duration, and that's 5 hits within 8 seconds to whatever targets. You're going to sever them. They deal 40% less damage. So on Hunter, we have the Punchy Hunter. Combination Blow, defeating targets with this ability also fully refills your class ability energy and restores a small amount of health. You have that stacking melee damage. You can pair that with Winter's Shroud, Stylus Executioner, or maybe Threaded Spectre, Stylus Executioner, so to apply debuff, that way you can get Stylus Executioner going. But with this, it's that same theme. Like, it's so good with Prismatic. Mostly talking about a Caliban build here. No secret, it's a great build. But you're spreading a lot of ignition, you're going to get final blows, and everything you shoot's going to get severed. It's just constant sever. The thing also has Unravel rounds. You're also going to be Radiant. It's very good. And with the Punchy Hunter, it all works good. Pugilist, Swashbuckler, whatever it is. But again, if you're doing a punchy build, Swash makes a lot of sense. You're adding more damage with Radiant, but you're also severing. And Sever, again, can work on all characters, but specifically for Hunter. And that's how I look at those 3 main perks. Slice Hunter, Pugilist Titan, Demo Warlock. But they can all work for each character. And the 4th, Desperate Measures is great. Depending on your build, Adrenaline Junkie, Swash just meshes together well. Swash is just good. Vorpal Weapon, I think it's always been a good perk. And on this, you put in so much work with the other ones, Desperate Measures, Swashbuckler, Adrenaline Junkie, that I think you can just kind of forego Vorpal Weapon. And back in the day, Vorpal Weapon was the top perk for it, but I don't think that's the case anymore. You can use it if you want, but with Prismatic and all the different builds we can get going with the artifact, I think other perks are warranted. Perpetual Motion, Threat, Compulsive Reloader, more so for PvP, especially Threat and Perpetual Motion. And Collective Action, it's okay. Remember with that one, you collect elemental pickups or throw a tangle. When you do that, you get 20% more damage in PvE. It lasts for 7 seconds. And if you do another pickup or throw another tangle while it's up, it extends the duration 7 more with a max of 12. So that's 20% more damage. And that's okay, but you might as well be using Desperate Measures at that point, or Swash, or Adrenaline Junkie. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with this, and it's made even better by Saint's Inspiration. Again, rounds loaded by Cast No Shadows can overflow the mag. We have Threaded Blast, there's Solar Fulmination with Liars, Caliban, Transference, and Shield Crest. A lot of things with the artifact to help out Breachlight. I'm very impressed with it. Sidearms can stun Unstoppable, and this season it's either Sidearm or Scout, but it's also a dual threat because Unravel rounds can do anti-barrier. I said in the very beginning that it's a good thing. One of the best things they could have done was make it strand because of all the synergy with Prismatic. And some of it does carry over to the plain strand sub, but very good with Prismatic. For the Crucible, heavy burst sidearms are pretty good. They have a pretty relaxed TTK. It's a 0.73. They hit hard and they have a weird burst pattern with their delay, so they do flinch. For that 0.73 TTK, it's a 5 crit, tier 7 to 10, tier 6 and below, it's a 4 crit, 1 body. So most are tier 6 and below, so there's a little ease of use. And my favorite role so far has been Pugilist Swashbuckler, leaning into the origin trait. And if I'm getting the melee final blow anyway, it goes to Swash 5, and that's a 0.47 TTK, 3 crit, 1 body, and as long as I'm getting kills, the Swash stack's going to stay up, and again, Enhanced allows it to linger a little bit longer, but I've been using it with the Peregrine Greaves on either Prismatic or Solar. That's adding in Radiant, so tier 10 is a 3 crit, 1 body, and tier 9 and below, which is the majority, is a 2 crit, 2 body for the 0.47. Extreme ease of use, and what's cool about it, if I'm using the Prismatic version, there's Unravel rounds on top, the Solar version, there's Ignitions, it's cool, very reckless and fun to run around with. And really, PvE and the Crucible, these things have a lot of range for a sidearm. They do. Or I should say they hold their damage a lot better at range. So for the Crucible, one of the things that did stick out was Swash because of the origin trait and kind of playing into the melee portion of this weapon. And similar to PvE, especially with using the Peregrine Greaves, I get the Final Blow. This thing has some heat coming out of it. Those kills that I get, those 2 burst kills, it's Pugilist energy, so I get my melee back that much quicker. I also have on Outreach and things on my class item. Get it back even sooner. But with something like Desperate Measures, even at ×1 does add some easy use on your second target. Tier 7 and below, it's a 3 crit, 2 body, so that's not bad. If you want to fly around and have fun, I recommend Swashbuckler with either Pugilist, Perpetual Motion, or Threat. Technically, in the third, for PvP, the best 2 options are Perpetual Motion and Threat, because Perpetual Motion helps out all the poor stats that it has as far as reload, stability, handling, and just overall makes it feel a lot better. And it helps in close spaces, because really, sidearms are just, you pull them out quick, you're getting rushed down, you can put on some quick, heavy damage. That's why Threat Detector is also good. If you're rushed, there's always going to be a ×1. So the base stability gets to 52, handling to 60, reload to 38. Sometimes you get 100 handling with Threat 2, 77 stability, and so on. It's good, and you don't really see heavy burst used. Breachlight's a good one to try out. Titan, obviously, with knockout stuff or Greaves, but there's also Liar stuff, and the Warlock has melee stuff too. I don't think that it's a great weapon, but it's a good one, and it's definitely a fun one for PvP. And I would have that mindset going in and try one of these heavy melee builds with it. I think you're going to have fun with it. In conclusion, again, I'm impressed. I do think it's a great weapon for PvE. I mean, really how well it works with Prismatic. It's so good with Prismatic. And I would stick to those 3. Slice Hunter, Pugilist Titan, Demolitionist Warlock. And all around, Pugilist Swash is just good. It's always going to be good because just of how the weapon works and its designed range. For your character, if you like Demo Warlock, Pugilist Titan, Slice Hunter, I think Demo Desperate Measures or Demo Swash. But for Pugilist and Slice, I think Swashbuckler. Because you're going to be close anyway, you might as well get the 33% extra. And if you use it how I've been talking about, you're going to get Radiant on top. And I did talk about hatchling because that's always going to be decently good. You can throw that in there. With these things, I don't really like going for crit final blows. I'd much rather just mow down with high damage. But that's up to you. It's definitely worth a spot in your loadout. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Let's talk about Breachlight down below. What are your favorite roles on it? And are there any builds you like pairing it with? Tell us about it. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am Coolguy.